in the office, like we never left, with a special guest, Patricia. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
Is this your first podcast?
Yes.
It is?
Yes, it is.
We met in an event. We met in an event in Hialeah, my favorite place, Hialeah. And when we started talking, you said a whole bunch of interesting stuff that I think the community should know about. Right? I don't know if you want to talk a little bit.
Of course. Where do you want to start?
I'll start. What your name is, Patricia, your background, what you do, and then we'll take it from all these special events.
Absolutely. My name is Patricia. I was born and raised in Miami. Went to Barry University.
Oh, nice.
And when I graduated from Barry, I started working at CNN.
Oh.
As a secretary here in Miami.
Nice.
And my dream was always to open up the CNN Havana bureau. So in March of 1997, I moved to Havana, and I opened up the CNN Havana bureau, and I lived in Havana for 4 years.
In Cuba?
In Cuba.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I lived in Cuba, so, everybody remembers Elián. That was a big story that I covered for 7 months.
That's why you look so familiar.
Yes. That's what people say when I say,
I'm like, wait,
That's my past life.
So you lived in Miami, then you lived in Cuba for 4 years. How was that change?
It was difficult. It was challenging, but I really enjoyed it in the sense of that the Cuban people that I met, they were very loving, very friendly, didn't have very much, but whatever little they had, they always offered it. So that's something that I will cherish forever. And besides having the experience of working for CNN, being the first American TV station to come into the island since 1969 when the Associated Press was expelled by Fidel Castro. It was a very special moment in my life for me.
How did your parents, when you told your parents you were going to Cuba, or they were living there, or they were here?
No, my parents lived here because they fled communism in 1960, ended up in New Jersey, and they were always very supportive of all the goals that I wanted to achieve. And
so when you sat them down and told me you were going to Cuba?
And I told them that I was going to Cuba, and they understood I wanted to know who I was. I wanted to know my roots. I wanted to know my family that I had never met, and tell stories. I loved being a storyteller, because remember, back in the day, people didn't have phones.
Right.
And it was a different form of communication.
Right.
So for me, I took that job very seriously of being the eyes and the ears of people, of the communities all over the world, to share what was going on in Havana and in Cuba.
I can't believe you did it for 4 years. Yeah. I went for a weekend and I was going crazy, but it was like maybe 10 years ago. It was a weekend that I went to Cuba to see it by myself, because I'm a kind of person that I like to see stuff. And the first time I was like, okay, it's not that bad, but the second one, I was crying the whole time.
Yes.
Since I landed until I left, I was crying the whole time.
Well, that was my experience the very first time, because the first time I went was during the rafter crisis. And I went with $50,000 in cash. Because remember, back in the day, wiring was not, you couldn't wire to certain countries.
Yes.
So I went with $50,000 in cash, a camera crew, a camera, because ours had broken in Havana because of the humidity, and some tapes, because they ran out of tapes. And as we all know, in Cuba, it's very hard to find certain things. So the vice president of the company said, listen, we've spoken to the government official and they want to interview you. If you want to stay, they're the ones that are going to decide whether they give you a visa to stay and work. And if you get it, great. And if not, you can stay for 3 days, go meet your family, travel around the island, and see how it all is here. And that's how my journey began in Cuba. And I remember going into my photographer's room and crying for 3.5 hours, because I was literally seeing the people getting on the rafts and trying to come to the United States. So Cuba has a very special place in my heart. And I just would love to see a free Cuba one day. That's how I truly feel about it.
Hopefully I always say that before I leave this world, I would love to see Cuba free.
Me too.
So hopefully, I think we're getting there. We're getting there.
Yes, I think we're getting there too. I think I'm getting there too. But my career has taken a journey, twists and turns and rights and going forward. And I always had a passion for healthcare and for supporting my community. So I've been working in healthcare for 13 years, and in Miami-Dade County, and I absolutely love it, because I love educating and I love doing events, and I love for the community to come out and learn about what is happening, because one thing I have found, as I know you have as well, that people truly need a lot of education.
Yes. a lot of people don't know what you guys offer. You just gave me 3 flyers, so I didn't of all the events, and people don't know what's going on in the residence.
Yes.
And I don't understand. Of course, the elderlies don't know how to use social media, but nowadays everybody uses social media. And I'm like, how come you didn't know this was happening? So I'm glad that you're here so you can talk a little bit more of all events. So you're in now, but you don't work in the hospital.
I work for Larkin Hospital.
Oh, you do?
As the Director of Business Development there.
Oh, wow.
Yes, they were started as a client of mine. Mm-hmm. But Larkin is growing so fast, and they've added so many service lines that they really needed, a point person to try to organize everything that's going on at the hospitals.
Are they closing their maternity? No.
No, we don't have maternity.
You don't at all?
No.
So in that area, if you were gonna give birth, what hospital do you go to?
Well, you have to go to Jackson. You have to go to Jackson, and Palmetto, I believe, is still open.
I think Palmetto was having an issue. They were trying they closed it, but supposedly they don't have funds. There is a counselor man that's been there a couple of times in the board meetings there, and he didn't even tell the residents or anybody else that he does go there, and he hasn't even backed them up. Yes. I'm not gonna say any names.
Yes, but you're right. That's why I'm hesitant, because I had heard that they were going to close, and then I heard that they weren't. I was at actually Hialeah Hospital when they did close maternity there, and this was many years ago, because my first job in healthcare was representing the 5 hospitals that Tenet Healthcare owned, and I worked there for 6 years. And I saw when the doctors got together and they were outraged that Tenet had decided to close maternity.
Yeah, so in Hialeah, if you're giving birth, where do you go?
Yeah, Jackson.
From Hialeah to Jackson, there's a possibility you give birth in the car.
That's why people
or in the ambulance.
And that's right, and that's why the community needs to be concerned. They need to be concerned. They need to know the services that the hospitals offer, and they need to become very good friends with their doctors.
Correct.
I cannot stress that enough. If you have an opportunity to get your doctor's cell phone number, make sure you have it. Because we're in a situation where people really need to be connected to their provider.
Yes. How long has this been happening with the issues of the maternity?
It's been happening for a while. It's been, I would say, a few years. I would say a few years.
And no one has talked about it.
Not that much, no. Not until today.
Until today.
Not until today.
Because articles have been coming out in Miami Herald, but like I said, nobody reads the newspaper anymore.
That's correct.
When I was younger, it was our family tradition to have breakfast, and my mom and dad would read the newspaper to us. Imagínate, I'm in my 40s, I still remember all this.
Yes.
And nowadays, you have to look for the news. It doesn't pop up, or you can't. I don't know if the Miami Herald still sends the papers, but I know you have to download an app, and then you have to pay for it to read the news. So when these articles have been popping up, I'm like, how come no one has talked about this? Not even in board meetings or nothing. Like, there's a possibility that to give birth, your water breaks at nighttime at 12 o'clock. There's a possibility that going to your house, from your house to the hospital, you might give birth in the car.
That's right. That's very, and that's why I say you need to know your hospital, your nearest hospital, what services they offer, and where your doctor practices.
Correct.
You need to really, nowadays, everyone needs to be informed.
Yes. And now with all these cuts with the ambulance, there's a possibility you give birth at home. That's why a lot of nurse practitioners that are in the field of the maternity, they're doing these classes. Oh my gosh, I don't remember that. They're like midwives that you can give birth. A doula. Yes. I have actually a close friend who just did the course. And she's been booked back to back. I'm like, what? She goes, yeah, people are scared that their water breaks and they're not going to have time to go to the hospital. So they hire me. I spend a day with them and we give birth in the house. I was like, me muero.
Yeah.
Me muero if I have to give birth at home.
Yes.
So tell me, and then what else?
So, I wanted to talk about the events that we're working on, because we have 3 wonderful events coming up. One is October 11th, where we're going to be doing a breast cancer walk inside Westland Mall.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and we have partnered with Councilwoman Mónica Pérez, and really excited that we're bringing the event to Westland Mall, because it used to be done at Amelia
Park.
Right. And then it was Mayor Bobo's wife is the one that would organize it. but since they're no longer in the community in Hialeah, Dr. Danae and I decided that it was a good idea to get out in the community and do a walk. You know, there's a walk at FIU, there's a walk at Marlin Stadium. Why can't Hialeah have their own walk?
Oh, I like that.
So we approached Councilwoman Monica, and she said, I'm all for it, let's do it, and let's bring the community out. So if everybody wants to come out October 11th at 9 a.m., please come join us. We're inviting all the hospitals in the area to come, as well as all the clinics. And we just want to meet our community and educate them and have a fun morning.
Oh, I love this. I'm going to go.
Yes, please come.
I haven't been in Westland Mall in a long time, but why not?
You know, it'll be a good thing for you to see because the mall is changing. You know, they're going to build where Sears was.
Is Sears still open?
No, they closed it, and Kadena bought it.
Oh.
And I have fresh news for you.
Oh,
hot off the presses.
Exclusive, breaking news.
In next year, in the summer of 2026, is when Kadena, I was told, is going to break ground on 700 apartments there.
So they're going to build apartments there.
Yes.
So it's going to be like a city of Hialeah, like Doral. You know, Doral has like what was it? That place called? There's a City Place.
City Place. Yes.
Isn't it be like a City Place there?
It's going to be like a City Place there.
So is it a low income apartments or?
No. It's going to be apartments for the community to utilize. But I think it's very exciting.
I love this. And then you told me before we started filming that you're also going to give like awards to nurses.
Yes. So we came up. I met this woman. She's absolutely amazing. She's the founder of Semilla. Her name is Gabriela. And I met her back in 2021 during COVID. And she would bring gifts to the nurses, sweets, cakes. And I called her up. I always like to stay in contact with everybody that I meet. I think that's very important.
Yeah, it's very important. And I love that you guys do this for the nurses because I think the way that they were treated with COVID was horrible. And I feel like me having clients that are nurses, they feel unappreciated. So giving them this little detail, it's going to make them so much happy, trust me.
So October 2nd, you have to be there.
Yes.
We're going to honor 5 of our nurses. And as a matter of fact, tomorrow we're doing the filming.
Nice.
We're doing our interviews with our nurses, and then they're coming. Amscott is a sponsor. They're going to give each nurse $100.
Oh, nice.
And they're going to get their award. And it's the 5 best hospital nurses that we have at the hospital.
Oh, I love that. I love
stars.
that because, like, again, with COVID, how they were treating COVID, to me, they're not appreciated enough.
Right.
So they're doing these little details, okay? You think it's little, but for them it's huge.
Of course. And it's also celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month.
Correct.
Because that's very important to us.
Yes.
So celebrating our culture. Son bravas, son bravos, los enfermeros de Larkin Hospital.
I love it. Now that we're talking about Hialeah, what changes would you like to see in Hialeah?
I think I would like to see a little bit more conservative with the spending of the budget.
Yeah.
I know Monica has been doing a really good job with that, and I congratulated her.
I did too, for yesterday's budget meeting.
Yeah, I think that she really needs to hold the line. You know, like we did. I'm a resident of North Bay Village, and we had the residents, told the mayor and the council, you need to hold the line.
Yeah.
And they reduced $1.7 million from the budget. Because we all know we're going through a tough economic time, right? And, the next few months or maybe the next year is going to be a little bumpy. And we need to be conservative with our spending. So I think that's one thing that I would like to see. And I would also like to see that when they make their promises, they try to keep them all. Because sometimes they make promises because they want that vote.
Correct.
And I understand that. But don't make a promise you can't keep.
Yes.
Because the residents need better.
Yes.
And we need the council and the next mayor to give 110%.
Correct.
And I also want to see more women initiatives.
Yes.
More women initiatives need to happen in Hialeah.
Yes.
We need more women in charge of different departments, of different things, even if it's on a volunteer basis.
Yes.
But we need more community activation, and I would love to see more women involved in that.
More women that get involved and more women that speaks up. Because there's women that get involved, but they don't speak up because le da pena, or, I don't want to say something to hurt someone's feeling. I prefer, my dad taught me this, and I stay with this forever. I go, yo prefiero ponerme roja una vez than ponerme roja a couple times. So I prefer to speak out. Maybe I'm not the best speaker. Maybe I'm very strong when I speak, but I get my message across. And I want to see that with women. Like I tell people, don't you think I want to support the mayor is in Hialeah? She's a woman. Of course I do. But she needs to learn how to speak And when it's right, it's right, and when it's wrong, it's wrong. So I hope she's listening. Please come through. Pero, because we're women, we like to support each other. But what is right, and what is wrong, is wrong.
Right.
Always.
Listen, I would love to see a woman mayor.
Me too.
As well, one day in Hialeah, whether it's this go round or the next one.
And anywhere, but in Miami-Dade we have a woman too.
Right.
But she doesn't know how to say no. She says yes to everything.
Right.
So we have to learn how to say yes when it's right, and when it's wrong is no.
Yes.
Y no. Even if they tell you, I'm gonna give you the world, no, it's wrong. It's wrong.
Right.
I'm not gonna build 5,000 houses and destroy the green in Hialeah.
Exactly.
It's wrong. It's
wrong. It's wrong. That's right. We need our green space. Mm-hmm. Our children need their green space.
They took one of the parks. Yeah, it's already approved from last night budget meeting. Mm-hmm. Pero bueno, and health-wise, what changes would you like to see in the hospitals?
I think people need to be more educated as what services do your hospital offer. Where does your doctor have privileges? So important. Because
super important.
Sometimes people don't understand
how
this all works.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the clinics. I have an example that I can give you. A person that came into one of the hospitals I represented in the past. The person was sick. It was a friend of mine's father. He called me and he goes, "Why is it taking so long for my father to get a room?" Well, it wasn't us that could give him the release. It was the clinic that he was associated with.
Okay.
And I think sometimes people go into the hospital and they need to also know when they have symptoms of whatever they're feeling, what is the difference between an emergency room and an urgent care?
Yes.
What can an urgent care take care of, and what can an emergency room take care of? Because it's also going to make a difference in your pocket.
Yes.
And people need to realize those things as well.
Do you agree of an elderly being in those little clinics? Or do you prefer them to be an independent doctor?
It depends. You have to do what's best for you. Mm-hmm. I have an 80-year-old mother. My sister and I take turns taking care of her. We don't have her in a clinic. She has her own insurance. She has she has chosen the doctors she wants to go to. But sometimes, the sandwich generation cannot take care of their parents or the elderly or alone. Mm-hmm. Because I do a lot of education with the firefighters. We do this at Larkin. And the firefighters have shared with us that they get to an elderly person's home and they're alone.
Yes.
And they could tell that they haven't been taken care of that a family member hasn't visited them in a very long time.
Yeah.
And they've shared these very sad stories with me. So that's why it depends what best option is for you to be taken care of.
Right.
That's the way I feel about that.
Yeah. And I always tell, again, I've been in the medical field for a long time. I always say it, like if you're going to put them, an example on Leon Medical Center, do your checkup, do a list and say, okay, if you're signed up to this clinic, what hospital can you go? Will the doctor visit this hospital? Because a lot of things that has happened to people, that they go to Kendall and then they call their doctor and the doctor can't see them in the hospital. So then they have to be calling the doctor to give permission to do stuff with the medication, changes in the medication, a lot of back and forth, and it makes the situation a little bit difficult for the patient. So I always say, do a list. Ponle aire. Doctor Pepe, lo puedes ver en estos dos hospitales, just in case, she falls or he falls. Puedes ir a estos hospitales. La lista de la medicina is very important because I know a lot of patients go to different doctors and they're like, sí, tengo una lista de medicina, pero no me acuerdo el nombre. I always tell everybody, family members, tell them, put it in a wallet. Pon un silver bag con los nombres de la medicina because any changes can affect the health, right?
That's correct. My mother carries the list of medications in her wallet.
You're a good daughter. You're a good daughter.
Because I would not remember her medications if they asked me what they were.
Yeah.
So she carries it in her wallet.
¿Viste cómo yo sé?
Sí, tú sabes mucho. Y me alegro que estás aquí dando mucha información.
Thank you.
Y que estás hablando con la gente de la comunidad.
Thank you.
Que de verdad que vienen aquí, te dicen la verdad, te dicen lo que está pasando. Y estás bien informada.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.
Yes, of course.
We'll be seeing you at these events. I'm going to put it in my calendar if I don't miss it.
Thank you so much.
You owe me the information of the other one.
Yes, I will send that to you too.
Yay. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.